So, there's this story about a voice in a hallway that just took off online, and it is absolutely terrifying. But we're not just here for the jump scares. We're actually going to break this story down, piece by piece, to figure out the real mechanics of modern horror, to see exactly why it gets so deep under your skin.
Let's just start with a question that hits a pretty universal nerve. What if, late at night, you're all alone, and you suddenly hear the voice of someone you miss more than anything? A voice that, by all logic, just shouldn't be there. That right there, that's the emotional hook. It's the foundation of the terror we're about to get into.
Alright, so every great horror story kicks off by setting the stage. And this one, well, it uses some really classic elements to create a perfect storm of isolation and just pure unease.
I mean, this scene is like a horror story starter pack, isn't it? 3 a.m., the witching hour. A house so silent you can hear a pin drop. And then you've got this thick fog just wrapping around the place, cutting our main character, Elias, off from the entire world. It's a classic setup for one simple reason. It works. Every time.
And then, that. A voice cuts right through the silence. It's his mother's, and it's described as clear and sweet. This is such a brilliant first move. See, the horror doesn't start with some snarling monster. It starts with a beloved memory. It literally weaponizes his grief, twisting something beautiful into the very first sign that something is terribly, terribly wrong. And now we get to the pivot point. This is the exact moment the story flips the switch and goes from just being kinda creepy to genuinely terrifying.
You gotta pay attention to his first reaction. It's not fear, it's comfort. He's actually drawn toward the sound. And that just shows you how insidious this creature is. This isn't some brute, this is a predator. It understands human emotion, and it knows how to use love as the perfect bait.
And boom, there it is. The rug gets pulled out from under him. You can almost feel that jolt of ice water in his veins. In one single thought, reality just completely shatters. And that's the real horror, isn't it? It's not just the voice. It's the impossible, terrifying fact that the voice is there at all.
3 years. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't a trick of the mind from a recent loss. This is a cold, hard fact. And it makes that voice in the hallway a complete violation of everything he knows to be true.
So the sound now has a source. The story moves from a threat you can hear to one you can see, but it does it in a really, really clever way.
Okay, the description of this thing is terrifying precisely because of how little detail we get. A tall, distorted human shape, no face, and a wide mouth that doesn't even move when it speaks. This is just genius storytelling. Our own minds have to fill in the blanks, and we always fill them with what scares us the most. We create our own perfect monster.
And this brings us to this core concept in horror called the uncanny. It's that deeply unsettling feeling you get when something is almost familiar, but just wrong. This thing looks kind of human, and it sounds exactly like someone you love, but every single instinct in your body is screaming that it's not. That gap, that dissonance, that's where true bone-deep fear is born.
All right, so the threat is established. We know what we're dealing with. Kinda. But now the story shifts gears. This isn't just a haunting anymore. It's a confrontation. And it has rules.
Now, the key thing here is that Elias remembers the rule. This implies this thing is a known entity, like a creature out of some dark, forgotten folklore. And that just raises the stakes immensely. This isn't some random encounter, it's a test. And the instructions are so primal, just refuse to exist, become invisible through silence.
So as Elias is holding his breath, trying to be completely silent, the creature fills that void with its own terrifying sound, that rhythmic clicking. It's not just a random noise, it's a countdown. It's the sound of the monster getting closer, this deliberate, patient scraping that is just absolutely nerve-shredding. And this is the checkmate move. After using his mother's voice to lure him, the creature now whispers in Elias's own voice. Think about that. It's a complete violation of his identity. It's the horror of hearing yourself say something you never said, of realizing this thing can not only imitate love, it can imitate you. So you see the strategy here, right? It's this brilliant, terrifying escalation. First, it uses his mother's voice. It weaponizes his past, his grief, to exploit a vulnerability. But then, it weaponizes his present self. It uses his own voice to prove it knows him. Maybe even that it can be him. So the sun comes up, the monster seems to be gone. In almost any other story, this would be the end, right? But this is where the final, absolutely devastating twist comes in.
You know this trope, right? We've all seen it. Surviving the night. The light comes and it means you're safe. The story lets us, and Elias, take a deep breath. We all think he made it.
And yep, the physical threat is gone. The hallway is empty, the clicking has stopped. For just a split second, you feel this wave of pure relief. The nightmare is over. Or is it?
And there it is, the final gut punch. And it reveals what this story is really about. The monster was never just a shadow in the hall. The real horror isn't about escaping a creature, it's about the terrifying idea that you can't escape what it leaves behind. His reflection is smiling, but he isn't. Something inside of him has been changed, or replaced.
So that's the question the story just leaves hanging in the air. Is the mimic just a mimic, or is it more like a parasite? Did Elias actually survive the encounter, or did he just become the new vessel? It suggests the most terrifying outcome of all. You can win the battle, but still lose yourself in the process.